Zone 2 training is powerful because it builds the body's aerobic engine, improving mitochondrial function, fat burning, and heart efficiency, so you're healthier, more resilient, and able to train harder with wear and tear as you age. I've been trying to run consistently since about June of 2024. I'm better than what I was, but if I'm honest, the progress has been painfully slow. All right, Landon, hit the disclaimer. My approach, just walk out the door and run at the top of my comfort level for as long as I could. No heart rate guidance, no zones, just vibes and stubbornness. And so for me, that usually is maintaining a heart rate of 160 to 175. So just basically being discomfortable the entire time. And then I kept running. And I don't even like running the way I like lifting, but running does something lifting doesn't. Whenever you're a bad runner, like me, it's uncomfortable and it silences everything else around me. I can't really think about all the emails, the business stress, random nonsense. Usually I can only process one, how bad I feel, and two, one other thought at the time. So whatever is presenting itself through the discomfort is today's topic, what we're going to think about during the run. And really, whatever that topic shows itself as, it allows me to work through whatever the most pressing topic is. Also, I pray while I run. It allows me to connect with the Creator, be thankful. It's cold, it's dark. Gratitude just kind of shows up unexpectedly and just flows. It allows me to truly see the abundance of the blessings that I'm showered with daily. Maybe it's a runner's high. Maybe it's just the only time nobody needs anything from me, but it's also a time that I get the morning sunlight. I run with my high energy dog. And then once we finish our run, I cool down by walking with my old German Shepherd, who the highlight of her day is walking through the pasture, even though her hips are clearly filing a formal complaint. But she zones out. She doesn't notice it while she's out there. So it's the best time for both of us. So I kept running for my own sanity. But physiologically, I've really hit a wall. And what I mean by this is a brisk walk really doesn't elevate my heart rate to where I'm trying to get to these zone 2 levels. But even just thinking about running or starting to go through the motions, I'm almost immediately at least 160s in my heart rate. So I'm stuck in this no man's land, too fit to walk, but not aerobically efficient enough to jog. And so I keep coming across the low and slow builds the engine, which if you like intensity sounds like nonsense. As I've been consistently neglecting it for a year and a half, I decided to try and understand it and dive into it a bit. So this is where the mitochondria come in. Mitochondria are usually described the powerhouse of the cell. We've heard that a ton of times. And technically it's true, but it's incomplete. Mitochondria take oxygen and fuel, fat and carbohydrates, and turn them into usable energy called ATP. They exist in your muscles, your heart, your brain, your liver, basically anywhere that energy matters. This is the key point that most people miss. Your fitness level is largely determined by how many mitochondria you have and how well they work. Poor mitochondrial function is linked to fatigue, insulin resistance, weight gain, cardiovascular disease, aging in general. If mitochondria are bad at burning fat, they're going to rely more on sugar. If they're inefficient, your heart rate climbs faster for the same amount of work. Does this sound familiar? So when I ran at 160, 175 heart rate every time, I was training to really survive discomfort, not for becoming efficient. The high intensity is great, but that's not where mitochondria grow best. Above a certain heart rate, your body shifts away from fat oxidation and towards glycolysis, which means burning sugar. You get fitter at suffering, but not better at burning fuel. And that's why people can train hard for years and still feel gassed doing easy work. Zone 2 sits below your first ventilatory threshold. Practically, it's where you can speak full sentences, breathing is controlled, you're uncomfortable, but stable, and you can keep that going for a long time. This intensity forces your body to rely heavy on fat oxidation and aerobic metabolism. That signal tells your cells we need more mitochondria and they need to be better. And so this specific zone 2 increases mitochondrial density, mitochondrial efficiency, capillary density, enzyme activity for fat metabolism. And so over time, that same pace produces a lower heart rate, less perceived effort, better recovery. You just don't burn calories anymore. You're actually upgrading the engine. And so most people approach fat loss by trying to burn more calories. Zone 2 helps flip that. Instead of asking, how much should I burn today? You're asking, how good is my body at burning fat? Better mitochondria means less insulin resistance, less metabolic stress, more fat used at rest and during activity. And that's why people can lean out and not feel completely wrecked after every workout. So zone 2 is where you're still burning fats for fuel instead of carbs. Once you start pushing too hard, your body has to switch to faster burning fuel. And so you're going to be burning carbs rather than fat. And so from a cardiovascular standpoint as well, zone 2 efficiently improves stroke volume, cardiac efficiency, capillary networks, autonomic balance. Your heart doesn't get stronger by beating faster. It gets stronger by pumping more blood per beat. This is why zone 2 is strongly associated with longevity and lower cardiovascular risk. So how do you monitor if you're in zone 2? I would say there's 2 ways to do it. One, you can just basically do the talk test. You are at a perceived effort where you're a little sweaty, a little out of breath, but you can speak full sentences. If you're going intense and you can't speak full sentences, decrease your activity a little. If you can speak freely and you're not even mildly discomfort, increase your activity a little bit. If you do have heart rate monitors and everything, you can calculate it based off your age. There are some that based off your HRV can spit out where your zone 2 is. If you've ever done a VO2 max test, they give you your specific thresholds. For the most part, for the general population, I'm just saying do the talk test and rate of perceived effort on just being a little sweaty, a little out of breath, and try and hold that for anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes most days of the week. And so personally, I've been moving to the treadmill and the assault bike so that I can titrate my heart rate. I don't like them. They're not fun, but I can titrate my heart rate to this specific zone 2 level to purposely work on building a better engine. I can stay aerobic instead of accidentally turning every session into a threshold day. So I'm going to try this for 2026, zone 2 treadmill, zone 2 assault bike, strategic VO2 max intervals. And I'm doing this to hopefully feel less crushed and see if my recovery overall improves and see if I can improve my outdoor pace without my heart rate exploding every time. This is also why zone 2 is one of the best entry points for people. We want you to move, and it has a much lower barrier to entry than going for an actual run. Find what you like to do that elevates your heart rate, but you could still speak full sentences. Walk with a friend. Go walk your dog. Sign up for a 5K and just brisk walk it. All you need is consistent, sustained heart rate elevation. That alone changes your metabolism. I still love lifting. I still love running outside for my mental health, and I'll need it to stay sane. But I'm starting to understand why slowing down is overall beneficial. Zone 2 isn't sexy. It's not dramatic, but it builds the engine everything else relies on. I'll keep you updated on my progress. If you have any tips or any further insight to this, feel free to reach out. Let me know. I'm happy to accept any tips, but I hope running slower is the answer because I know I'll never be a fast runner. Lift heavy, run slow. Don't turn every workout into a competition with yourself, and build the engine so the hard stuff actually works. Subscribe, go for a walk, and I'll see you next time.